Good Vibes Only is here to take you on a journey to discover the weird and wacky world of wellness. It's brought to you by the globally renowned skin and wellness expert Marie Reynolds, who holds over 36 years of experience within the skin and well-being industry. Each week, Marie shares her own holistic lifestyle hacks and chats to other leading wellness experts to find out their good vibe story, discussing how they deal with day-to-day stress, anxiety, sleep, and skin issues. Listen in as Marie explores why, when it comes to our health and wellness, we need to look beyond the linear, question the norm, and think outside the box.
So today I'm here with the beautiful Alessandra Steinherr. I'm really honoured that you are spending your time to chat with me about wellness. Do you realise that the first time that we met, I was having a look back, it was 2009.
Oh.
It's nuts. Wow. I can't believe how quick that time's gone. And through the years, we've not only done skin therapies, I've also done cupping on you and other bits and pieces. And we've been in touch via WhatsApp or via Instagram, and I've been sending you little remedies. But I want you to introduce you because you've got such a vast CV. I mean, you was a beauty editor for GLAMOUR for 10 years, was it?
I was the beauty director at GLAMOUR for 11 years.
Wow.
11 years, yeah.
And you've been an ambassador for so many huge brands.
Well, my entire career was spent in working in the beauty industry as an editor. I started as an intern at Marie Claire. And then I just worked at various different magazines. I was beauty director at Cosmopolitan for, I think, 6 years. And then I went to GLAMOUR for 11 years. And then in 2018, I left to kind of, social media started.
Yeah.
And I decided also it was time. I think I'm just one of those people that I'm more scared of not trying something than trying something. And I just, you know what I mean? Like some people have the fear of trying stuff, whereas I'm scared of being stuck. And back in 2018, when I decided to leave GLAMOUR, now it seems, hindsight is a wonderful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like now you think, well, obviously, but at the time I remember like people, in our industry, there were people who were like, what is she doing? Like, what the hell is she doing?
I'm used to that in my industry. Yeah. I have that all the time.
Yeah. Not everyone, but I would say the majority of the industry was kind of like, why would she do that?
It's the fear of the unknown, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah.
A lot of them sort of like very, very stuck in their ways, and there's nothing wrong with that, in that safe boundaries. But you've like really jumped in. You have some fantastic Insta lives, and you've taken to TikTok like a duck to water. I see you.
Well, we see each other. This is something that I only started like in this summer, though. In the summer, I started the TikTok. That's not even the way to say it. I started TikTok. But first of all, I just want to say, I know we're going to talk about wellness, but I loved my time in magazines. Okay. It was some of the best time of my life. I'm so grateful. It was honestly the best times. My time at GLAMOUR, I was so happy. I loved, the people I worked with. I loved my team. It was so great. But times move on. The world moves on. And there was a time when magazines was everything in a way, in terms of, for getting your beauty information.
Yeah, content.
And so content is what I mean. Yeah. And so that was the place to be. And then when social media came on strong, things just shifted. So I didn't leave because I hated it. I absolutely loved it. I just felt things were moving and changing, and I had to move.
I always say that you've either got to get on the train or be left at the platform, and you got on the train.
Yeah. But, I absolutely adored it, and then obviously going out on your own, there are many advantages, but also many challenges. And, being in a structure, you're kind of protected, even though within the structure, it's not always easy, but, you have something to fall back on. Whereas when you're by yourself, you're by yourself, you are you.
Yeah, it's feast or famine, and you have to be your own content. I'm obsessed with all of my different things and my weirdness that I have. As you know, I say things to you sometimes and your eyes just open wide. But I want to talk about wellness because I know that even though that you are known for your skincare, your beauty, your makeup, you are very interested in wellness as well, especially the place that you was brought up in, Austria. This is one of the motherlands of wellness and wellness therapies. So what are the things that you have had? Because the most famous clinic, the Maya Clinic, you go to the Maya Clinic, don't you?
Yes, but there's a reason for that. So it's not just because it's trendy. I think I've been very open to wellness from a very young age, because in Austria, you talk about weird. Hello. I mean, in Austria, like there is such an understanding and an openness to, they called it alternative therapies. I don't know if that's still the term now, but when it comes specific, I mean, body treatments, people go to the sauna naked, which here people think is very odd. Whereas in Austria, people think it's odd if you're dressed.
Because they believe that
it's
the toxins.
More hygienic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So all these kind of things, the whole, I mean, it was like things like the sauna. I don't personally love a sauna because it's hot, but the whole culture of like having lymphatic drainage. It seems like when you speak to people here, it was like invented recently, or I mean, it's been around for ages, and so all these kind of therapies I was quite open to. Now the Maya, it's not a new thing at all. And my grandmother, my aunt, my mom, you used to go to the Maya Kur, it was called. You used to go once a year. It was like a thing like that my family always did. So of course it has evolved, because back in the day it was milk and bread, by the way, before people had intolerances to everything. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on wellness. I'm not at all, but I'm open to it.
Yeah, you talk about the saunas. They actually have championships, don't they? I think it's called Aufguss Masters. Have I pronounced that right? Aufguss Masters? Is that right? Have you heard of these?
Aufguss Masters, maybe.
I
haven't actually.
Oh, yeah. As you mentioned, they go into the saunas, they're naked because it's believed that it's very unhygienic. They believe that they reabsorb all the toxins. And these Aufguss masters, they go into the sauna and they whip up the heat with a towel, but they do it through a dance. And there's actually championships.
Oh my God, I have not seen that.
Yeah, and I believe that they actually do like theatre. It's almost like entertainment where people go to these sauna theatres, and they are Aufguss masters that do these dances and whip up the
I'm going to look this up.
Yeah, look it up. And there's big championships. There's sort of like world championships on it.
Do you know what? I haven't heard about that. But one thing, for example, like the village where we spend our summers, there's like a Kneipp therapy kind of area for everyone, like for free, like kniping and stuff like that. Like it's just seen as,
well, I mean, it's a way of life there, which I think is just amazing. And you touched on the word alternative therapy. I always believe it as complementary, because there's this real divide in either allopathic medicine or, as you say, alternative medicine. It really is complementary. There shouldn't be a grey area.
I agree.
Because there is a room for obviously trauma care, health care, but there's also room for complementary therapies. And there's a lot to be said with that. I mean, I don't say too much of what I do on Instagram or anything. I mean, I haven't got the time to do because I'm really, really busy, but I do things like live blood analysis. I do the energy therapy. I think I actually imprinted the frequencies on the disc. And then, of course, we've got the colonic hydrotherapy. Have you ever had a colonic hydrotherapy?
So this is the thing. We speak about this so much. I'm so desperate to come to your clinic and get a full day of treatment with you. So the colonic hydrotherapy. So if we're going to get into specifics.
Yeah, listen, I always have.
Yeah. But I always have gut issues.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about this a lot. And a lot of what the Maya Clinic addresses as well is gut issues. And I've got to tell you something. I have had some traumatic experiences with colonics or hydrotherapy. And then I've had some amazing experiences. I think it also has to be where you have to feel in a safe environment. And when it became like a trendy thing, like, just get a colonic a week, it was just a bit, I mean, not my kind of vibe, if you want. But no, it's not for me. But when I go to the Maya, I do have them because it's part of, they do a whole gut reset there. That's the whole point. And I've got to tell you, because I've had pretty serious issues over the years, as you know, and how I feel from the moment I arrive to the moment I leave is night and day.
Yeah.
And you feel so wonderful that you wonder, why would you ever want to feel any different? And this is the thing, like you feel so energetic and calm, and When your gut is calm, everything's like, I really believe that. Like, you're fresh, your brain's fresh, your skin's great, you feel better about yourself. I don't have depression. I won't pretend I have depression, but everyone has ups and downs and dips.
There's a major, we all know about the huge link between the gut and brain, and serotonin, and 90% of it is made in the gut.
Yeah. And it amazes me when I arrive and when I leave, and then I'm like, I'm going to do this forever. And then of course I don't.
Well, I think you touched on it. I joke about it a lot of the time, but a lot of it is trust and people feeling safe. The last 2 weeks, I don't know what's happened, but I had 24 colonics, and included in that was total body detoxes within 2 weeks. It was mental. And I think a lot of the highlighting of this, even though I want to take the taboo out of talking about poo, the highlight of this was Deborah, Bowel Babe, who had highlighted a lot about this. And there's been a lot on social media with people talking about poo, which is absolutely fantastic. A lot of it is trust. I just say it how it is, and I put people at ease away when they come in here, and I do something called a total body detox, as well as the colonic hydrotherapy and the enemas. And a lot of people get confused about what an enema is and a colonic hydrotherapy. But
I know the difference.
Fabulous. I'm thrilled. Yeah. So even when people come in for colonic hydrotherapy with me, I don't just go in and do a colonic hydrotherapy, because the one thing that I have in this clinic is pulling all different things in of what I need. For example, when you do a colonic, I can actually see on the pressure gauge how sensitive the bowel is. And if somebody's a little bit anxious, or if we haven't got a release, there are certain acupuncture points. You can actually see, depending on what acupuncture point, the pressure valve reducing, like large intestine 4, if you massage that, the pressure of the bowel reduces, and it's amazing to see. But I think because it is an intimate area, it's an intimate thing to have done, is huge. And when you put somebody at rest, then that is the main battle,
But I have to tell you, so when I go to the Mire and I have my colonics, sometimes, like when I call amazing, it's just like you get the full release, you feel great, whatever. And there are times when I get zero release. And even though I would say I like the place, I trust the place, I'm fine, but I don't know, like and then you just have to go.
Did they explain to you why that could happen?
Well, I think also when you're there, you take Epsom salts and stuff.
Yeah.
So sometimes it could have to do with the fact that you're already on those salts.
Yeah. Well, Epsom salts should give you a massive release anyway.
But why do you think it is that sometimes nothing happens?
Well, there are reasons for that. So sometimes you can hydrate the bowel so much and then nothing comes out of the tube, or even when you go to evacuate, there could be a reason where you're so constipated that your large intestine is like blocked up, that you're not hydrating enough and you're not loosening. It could also be that you're viscerally dehydrated, because don't forget, a colonic hydrotherapy does just that. It doesn't just cleanse the bowel, it hydrates the bowel, and the water goes through the bowel and it hydrates all the visceral organs. So if you're viscerally dehydrated, and a lot of people get confused about intracellular hydration and hydration, you can drink water, but it can flush straight through you. It's really important to have ionic minerals within your water so that you're intracellularly hydrated. So that's another indication. And a third indication is that you are emotionally holding on to shit.
Yeah. Literally. Yeah. And I think that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, because there's been a couple of times where you talk about having a colonic each week. The rule of thumb is usually, obviously depending on each client, is if you've never had a colonic, you have a colonic each week for 3 weeks, or 3 in quick succession. And then after that, every 4 months. A total body cleanse, you only need twice a year, because a total body cleanse is a colonic, an enema, ozone insufflation, and a probiotic implant. So it really is like a full gut reset.
I literally only have them when I go to the Mire once a year, but I want to come to you for that total one. You'll
feel amazing, honestly. I don't know whether you did you see the live blood analysis reel that I did?
No, I didn't.
It's a client that I've known for years, and she's always suffered from ulcerative colitis, and I've been treating her for about 5 years, and we got her ulcerative colitis in remission. So she came and had a total body detox. And I wanted to, just for my own curiosity, to do a live blood analysis before the total body detox. So I took her blood and I look at it under the microscope and we film it and we can see all of her blood cells are ghosted cells, which means that it literally looks like just a very faint halo of a lot of her cells, not all of her red blood cells. And then there was also these things called symbiotics, which are like little precursor to pathogens. So it looks as though there's lots of inflammation, low iron, low minerals. We did the full body detox. We did the ozone. Now, ozone is like intense hyperbaric, I suppose, for your bowel. It forces oxygen into your bowel and it allows your blood to take that oxygen, and then it really boosts all of the autonomic nervous system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I took her bloods after, and all of those ghost cells had taken up all of that oxygen. It was literally as though someone had turned a light on. It was amazing. Yeah. So when you see things that are physically changing in front of your eyes, especially your blood, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I had ozone therapy, but the one where they take the blood out of your vein in your arm and then they put it back. But I could only do it once because my veins are too weak. They couldn't take it.
That is fantastic. Ozone that I do is the insufflation, so it goes up your back passage, and ozone is absorbed into the bowel. You need a 10 pass is what you probably had. Do you remember what you had? A 6 pass or a 10 pass?
Oh gosh, I don't remember.
Can't remember. It usually goes through a 10 pass. So basically the blood comes out and it's recirculated and ozone is put through. So, and it is absolutely fantastic, but you can have it up through the bowel and you can also have it in through your ears, but you must go to a practitioner to have this done because ozone is one of those things that you've got to be very, very careful with.
Oh, but anything like that, I would only go to someone who's reputed and knows what they're doing. I mean, that's the one thing, you know, where I think sometimes wellness can get into disrepute is because, you know, you have to have proper people who know what they're doing.
Well, that's the thing with social media. Everybody is an expert. Everybody knows everything. When everybody comes to me and they ask, can you treat this? Can you treat? And I say, I don't treat any condition. That's for your doctor. That is for your doctor to treat. I look at the imbalances in your body because all physical manifestations start energetically. And if you can then unpick the energetic blockages, then you allow the energy to flow and you get homeostasis. So what are the wellness things that you do on a daily basis? What are the things that you do?
Well, I have to tell you that the whole pandemic messed me up massively. I would definitely say in the way that I think pre-pandemic, I was much into my wellness than I am now. Not that I'm not into it, but I don't seem to have the impetus to. So for example, my diet is absolutely diabolical. And it never used to be this bad. It was a lot better pre-pandemic. And that's something that I kind of try to work on.
Do you think that's because of motivation or do you think it's like emotional?
I think it's emotional because I think I got into really bad habits during lockdown. Yeah. I mean, there were other things I don't really want to talk about happening in my personal life that were, you know, quite sad. And so I was by myself and I lost people very close to me, passed away. And I'm not using this as an excuse, but definitely made me. Yeah,
it's how you deal with things and it's how you, and especially when you're on your own.
Well, during the pandemic, you know, my family is not here. As you know,
that's right.
I was here in London. My family wasn't here. You know, I spoke to them every day, but physically, I didn't see my mom, my dad, my brother for a long time. And that was really hard. And like I said, you know, a few people very close to me passed away, which young people, and that was really difficult. And it's not something I really spoke about openly. So I'm kind of going to leave it there. But what happened was I wasn't able to think in that moment. I should have gotten therapy and help or something right away, but I didn't think about that. And I just started eating really badly. Which I'm a weight yo-yo anyway, you know this. So that's my thing. Emotional eating is my thing. You know, I'm not a big drinker. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs, but I eat, you know? So
yeah, but you know what? I always think that people put pressure on themselves about what they should and shouldn't do. And I've spoken about this before, about the toxic bin. We're all born with a toxic bin. Some of us are born with it a quarter full, a half full, 3/4 full. And if you can reduce where you can reduce, that's fine. But at that moment, if you've got comfort in whatever you've needed, then that's okay. You can always fix it. You can always address it, but
yeah, I agree with you. You can, but I feel like I would like to get back to where I was with my eating habits, and it's not really happening. And like, for example, you said to me, like, try to have no gluten, no dairy. I'm aware of it. But I don't do it at the moment. It feels so much better when I do it. I actually feel better.
Yeah, but this is where it comes to the non-emotional contract. And I tell all of my clients, if you keep things in your head, if you are aware of things and keep things in your head and think, oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, it's really hard to be motivated. Whereas if you put it in a format, and I've told you this before, that you're used to being very, very logical. If you have a project to do, then you have to set yourself goals in when you have to do that. So you have to almost think of yourself as a third person and coach yourself. And I know it's a bit of a drag, but if you do it, then you're almost reprogramming your brain again, because we're programming all the time. So you can reprogram it, but you just have to keep looking at the same thing, writing it out and doing it at the same time. And it's repeated behavior.
And I, like you say, I'm a very logical person. I'm a very pragmatic person, but let's talk about the positive things that I do. So I've always been really good with drinking water. I just enjoy it.
What water do you drink?
I do drink mineral water, but I put those things in that you always tell me to do.
Rehydration
and rehydration. I always, every day, I put that in, but I buy that pH alkaline, what's it called?
Active?
Yes, I buy that one.
Perfect.
Because I think you had it once.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I still chuck the rehydration and the spectrumin in.
Yeah,
and those are things that you always say to me. And that's something I'm very, very regimented about. I always do that. And I enjoy drinking water. So that's easy for me. Another thing that I do that you actually taught me is I don't have coffee until 11.
Perfect.
You taught me that. So I do listen.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah. But I do have like a jasmine tea. Is that bad as well?
No, that's fine. It's jasmine just when the meridians are at their best, and especially with coffee, if you can drink coffee between 11 and 2, that's fine. That's okay. Because it takes about 7 to 8 hours for coffee enzymes to get out of your liver. So it's just making your liver work harder.
So it's funny because, the mornings for me are so good. As in, even like my breakfast is like I'll have one egg and maybe some avocado and like a buckwheat thing. Like it's funny. Like my mornings are super good. I feel so great. Also a morning person. One of the things I love doing, so as much as I don't like the heat of the sun, I crave sunlight.
Good.
So I like to go out and go for a walk in the mornings. And that's where the winter plays its trick on me. Because like a day like today, which is a sunny day, I'm like, yes, everything's possible. The world is my, yes. And as soon as it's these dull gray days, I struggle a lot more. I do try to get out. So those are like positive habits that also are easy to do. That's the thing with me. It has to be something that I can easily incorporate into my life. I try to walk a lot rather than take the tube or the bus or, I as much as I can, but I'm lucky, I live in a city where you can walk.
Yeah.
I live in London and in the center, so I can commute. I'd rather live where you live, where you can go on the beach.
I know, it's stunning. I mean, we took the dogs for a walk this morning over the fields. It's just so beautiful.
That changes your morning. That changes your day.
It does.
If you go out, your day is good because I think, and I know this has nothing to do with wellness, but the first thing I do when I get up is I make my bed right away.
Actually, it is something to do with wellness because absolutely, because if you've got a tidy bed, a tidy room, it's a tidy mind, especially first thing.
I feel positive.
Yeah.
I feel like boom.
Yeah.
I get up, make my bed, have my water, have my jasmine tea. Those are things in the morning that make me feel good. And then supplement wise, I take different things like when you tell me to take things. But one thing that really made a difference is, and this is actually something they told me at Meyer, I take Agnus castus.
Oh, perfect. Yeah.
That, oh my God. I really have that PMS, that.
Yeah.
Taking Agnus castus every day. I take 20 milligrams a day.
That's fantastic. Agnus
They're
castus
almost gone.
is fantastic. That's in our Eve blend. It's really good. Getting back to when it's overcast and you're feeling a bit low, either get a towel, I know this sounds mad, and rub along your spine, Or if you can go to an acupuncturist and get them to do moxa along the bladder meridian, it helps to activate,
I don't like needles. I'm a needle phobe.
Yeah, but I know. So's my daughter. It's like having a flipping wild cat in here if ever I bring a needle out. But moxa is warming. It's got a warming herb, and it's no needles. It's warming along the bladder meridian. That's going to help with all of that low mood and everything. It's fantastic.
Also, putting a candle on helps me. I love my candles. I have a thing about that light. So you ask me about meditation. I'm not going to lie. I'm not someone who sits down and meditates and like that. But the walking in the morning, which I do on my own, is for me like a walking meditation, I call it. And I have a thing about trees, and now you're going to think I'm nuts, but I really feel, because I live close to a park. So when I'm around the trees, I feel like it makes, I don't know, I just relax.
That is not nuts to me. That's my normal.
I love,
that's my normal.
Forests. Yeah, I have a thing about trees in the forest, and it calms me down.
Well, you'd love it in Norfolk. You would absolutely love it in Norfolk.
I know
it's absolutely beautiful. But
it's like when I go home to Austria in the countryside, I spend hours on my own walking in the woods, and I feel like I want to feel every day of my life.
Well,
I'm calm.
But that's forest bathing. That's basically you are bathing in oxygen, and it's clear air. I mean, up here there's lichen that grows on the trees, which only grows when there's pure oxygen, when the oxygen levels are really high. So it's pure air that you're breathing in. And you say about meditation, lots of people say, "Oh, I do meditation," but there's a lot of people that might do it, but they don't receive it because their analytical mind is. And that's why,
interesting. I love that.
Yeah.
They do it, but they don't receive it.
They don't receive it because that analytical mind is switched on. But what you do is perfect, because you're better off going for a walk in the woods, just looking at the leaves, just taking in everything. That is a form of meditation.
It switches my brain.
Yeah. It's a perfect thing. Even if you're in a high flat, if you've not got any garden, if you've not got any park, there are things that you can do like grounding sheets, or you can even get this little rod that you put in a house plant and wear the cuff, and you'll still get that grounding energy. So even if you're working in an office, there's all of these things that you can do.
I love that. I mean, Marie, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't do this every day of my life, but I try to do it.
But it doesn't matter. Even if you do it a couple of times a week.
I don't do it, but that's something. But, I used to do it literally every day.
But you do a lot more than what some people do. I think a lot of it is manifestation. If you say, "Oh, I haven't got time," or "Oh, I can't be bothered," or "I can't do that," then you're not going to do it.
I'm not naturally the person who is excited to work out and shit like that. But you know what I mean? If you give me the choice of lying on the sofa with a book and the fire on, or going for a hike, I'd rather sit on the sofa. So
until you get out on the hike,
lazy. And I love being out, because you never regret it. No. But what I mean is, like my brother, for example, he is the opposite. Like he's a very outdoorsy. He thrives to do, whereas I thrive to relax. It's interesting, but it's just different personalities as well.
Of course, it is.
We grew up in the same way. We're just different people. And I look at my brother, and he's so energetic, and I'm just like, wow, you're amazing. Like, I love this about him.
Yeah.
He literally cannot lie down and relax. He finds it, not that he's a nervy person, but it's boring to him. Whereas with me, I'm like, oh, I can just lie down, and that's great. So I have to push myself to move. I do.
Each of us are different, and each of us have different nuances and like different things. And also, it's really important at this time of year, especially when you're talking on Chinese medicine theories. At this time of year, it's all about like collecting yourself and nurturing yourself and hibernating. So it's not a bad thing. On Boxing Day, I always go for a swim in the sea.
Oh, I wish I could be with you. Swimming in the cold water is my thing. I love it.
Brilliant.
I wish I could do that with you. And I saw you put something on TikTok and on Instagram, because I follow you on both, and you were like naked in the stream, and I was like,
in the lock.
My woman in the lock.
Yeah.
I thought brilliant.
Yeah, I mean, my husband, bless him, he really does support all of my things. And I said, "If you love me, you'll get in the lock with me." And he said, "Oh, please don't do that." And
that's an emotional blackmail.
Yeah, well, I have to do that. So anyway, and as luck would have it, on the last day, it was bright sunshine, but it was freezing cold. And I said to him, "Come on, let's just do it." And it was 7:00 in the morning, and it was amazing.
Wow.
It was amazing.
That even he said is amazing. Yeah.
And even he said, I've got to say, it's brilliant. It is brilliant. Well, look, listen, I'm just so grateful that you've spent your time here chatting all things wellness with me. And I look forward to seeing you at the clinic in Norfolk.
We're going to make that a contract. We're going to make that like 2023.
Yeah.
I'm coming.
You are.
Come for a full-on retreat.
Yes.
I'll have to come for like a 3-day retreat. I'll come out, I'll be like, what happened to me?
Yeah, you can go in the hyperbaric, you can have your total body detox, you can have your skin treatments, you can have live blood analysis, energy therapy, and you'll be a different person. You'll be river dancing out of here.
Oh my God. I look forward to that. That's for sure.
Well, look, listen, thank you so much. You have a wonderful day. And
thank you for having me.
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure always. Thank you for supporting in everything I do. You're amazing. Thank you.
Oh, love you, Marie. See you soon.
That's it for this week's Good Vibes Only episode. But there's plenty more wholesome, holistic information where that came from. Check out Marie's website, www.mariereynolds.london.com, or follow Marie on socials. For Marie's products, follow at Marie Reynolds London on Instagram and Facebook, and at Marie Reynolds_London on TikTok. You can also follow Marie's day-to-day content on Instagram. Follow at Marie Reynolds_MRL. Thank you so much for listening to Good Vibes Only. If you've enjoyed this episode, we'd love for you to subscribe to and review the podcast wherever you listen to them. And remember to share the episode too. See you next time.